Hello everyone, and welcome to English Mindset. I'm Jessica, and today we have a very exciting topic that I believe will be a game changer for your English journey: how to build your English brain. Many learners often ask, how can I think in English instead of constantly translating from my native language? This is a common challenge that almost every English learner faces at some point. When we rely on translation, it slows down our thinking and makes conversations feel awkward or stressful. But what if you could train your brain to understand and respond in English automatically, just like your first language? That is exactly what we mean by building an English brain. Imagine watching your favorite English movie or TV show without subtitles and fully understanding every word. Imagine speaking with someone in English and the words just flow naturally from your mind without hesitation. This is not a distant dream, it's entirely possible with the right strategies and practice. Building an English brain means training your mind to directly connect with English words, sounds, and ideas without needing to translate everything in your head first. It is about making English a natural part of your thinking process, so you can communicate quickly, confidently, and fluently. In today's episode, we'll dive deep into what an English brain really means, why it is so important for learners of all levels, and practical steps you can take to develop it. We'll also share simple exercises that you can start practicing immediately to strengthen your English skills every day. So, whether you're at home, at work, or on the go, grab a notebook if you like, get comfortable, and let's explore the journey of building an English brain together. By the end of this episode, you'll have clear guidance on how to think, speak, and even feel in English more naturally. Now that we've introduced the topic, it's important to clearly define what we mean by an English brain. When we talk about building an English brain, we are referring to a state in which your mind can think, understand, and communicate in English directly, without constantly translating from your native language. For many learners, this might sound challenging or even impossible, but it's actually a skill that anyone can develop with consistent practice. To understand this better, think about how you use your first language. When you see a familiar object, such as a cup of coffee, you don't think in another language and then translate it, you simply recognize it instantly as coffee. The connection between the word and its meaning is automatic. An English brain works in exactly the same way. When you hear, read, or speak in English, your mind should immediately connect the words with their meanings and the ideas they represent, without passing through your native language. This automatic connection is what allows fluent speakers to understand English quickly, respond naturally, and enjoy conversations without hesitation. Building an English brain is more than just memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It involves training your mind to process English as a living, dynamic language rather than a set of translated phrases. Your brain learns to associate sounds, words, and sentences with real-life concepts and situations. For example, instead of memorizing the word run in isolation, your brain learns it in context: I run in the morning, or she runs to school every day. Over time, your brain starts to recognize patterns, form sentences instinctively, and respond almost automatically in English. It's important to note that developing an English brain is not only for children who are naturally immersed in the language. Adults can also build this skill through deliberate practice. Our brains are flexible and capable of forming new connections, a quality scientists call neuroplasticity. This means that even if you already have a fully developed first language, you can still train your mind to process English naturally. The key is to focus on listening, thinking, and speaking in English regularly, rather than relying on translation. In essence, an English brain is about making English a part of your thinking process. It's about seeing, hearing, and feeling the language directly, so that understanding and communication become effortless. Once your brain starts functioning this way, you'll notice significant improvements in your speed, confidence, and fluency. You'll be able to enjoy movies, podcasts, and conversations in English without pausing to translate, and you'll feel more relaxed and natural while speaking. Ultimately, building an English brain transforms your relationship with the language. English stops being a series of rules to follow or words to memorize, and instead becomes a language you think in, live in, and use with ease. With the right strategies and consistent practice, anyone can achieve this level of fluency and truly make English a natural part of their mind. Now that we understand what an English brain is, it's essential to explore why building one is so important for learners of all levels. Developing an English brain goes far beyond simply memorizing vocabulary or mastering grammar rules. It fundamentally changes the way your mind processes the language, which has a profound impact on your fluency, confidence, and overall communication skills. The first and perhaps most obvious benefit is speed. When you constantly translate from your native language, your brain needs extra time to process every word and sentence. Imagine someone asks you a simple question, like, "What did you do yesterday?" If you think in your native language first and then translate, even a short response can take several seconds or more, which interrupts the flow of conversation. With an English brain, your responses come naturally and immediately. You can react quickly, follow conversations effortlessly, and participate in discussions without hesitation. This kind of speed is crucial for real-life communication, whether in casual chats, professional meetings, or traveling abroad. Another significant advantage is confidence. Many learners feel nervous about speaking English because they fear making mistakes or saying something incorrectly. When you rely on translation, you are constantly aware of potential errors, which can make you hesitant or anxious. Building an English brain reduces this mental barrier. Because your mind processes English directly, speaking becomes a more relaxed and natural experience. You stop worrying about every word or grammatical rule and focus instead on conveying your ideas clearly. This freedom allows you to enjoy conversations, express yourself fully, and engage more actively with others. Improved listening skills are another reason why an English brain is essential. If you are always translating in your head, you risk missing important details in conversations, podcasts, or videos. Translating word by word can cause your understanding to lag behind the speaker, making it difficult to follow natural speech, idioms, or fast dialogue. When your brain thinks in English, you can grasp the meaning more quickly and accurately. You begin to recognize patterns, intonation, and context, which enhances comprehension and allows you to respond appropriately in real time. Finally, building an English brain also strengthens reading and writing abilities. When your mind works in English directly, reading articles, books, or emails becomes smoother because you are not constantly decoding sentences through another language. Writing becomes easier too, as you can form sentences naturally and express ideas without getting stuck on translation or vocabulary searches. In short, developing an English brain impacts speed, confidence, comprehension, and overall fluency. It transforms the way you interact with the language, making English a part of your thinking process rather than just a subject to study. With consistent practice, learners of any age can achieve this level of fluency, unlocking the full potential of their English skills and enjoying communication with greater ease and naturalness. Now that we understand why building an English brain is so important, let's dive into practical steps you can take to develop it. These steps are simple but powerful, and they are designed to help your mind start thinking in English naturally. With consistent practice, anyone can follow them, regardless of age or current level of English. Step 1. Surround yourself with English. Creating an English-rich environment is the first step toward building an English brain. Even if you live in a non-English speaking country, there are many ways to immerse yourself in the language. Listen to podcasts, watch videos or movies in English, change the language settings on your phone or computer, and follow English content on social media. The more your brain hears and sees English every day, the more it starts recognizing patterns, words, and phrases automatically. Over time, these repeated exposures help your mind connect English sounds with their meanings without the need for translation. Step 2. Speak without fear. Many learners hesitate to speak because they are worried about making mistakes. However, speaking is one of the most effective ways to train your brain. Perfection is not the goal, communication is. Even if your sentences are not perfect, every time you speak, your brain practices forming English structures and expressing ideas. Start with short sentences and simple conversations, and gradually increase your speaking time as your confidence grows. Remember, mistakes are not failures, they are opportunities for your brain to learn. Step 3. Think in English. This step is central to building an English brain. Instead of translating thoughts from your native language, try to describe what you see, feel, or do directly in English. For example, if you are making breakfast, you could say to yourself, "I am cutting vegetables," or "the coffee is hot." Start with 1 or 2 sentences a day and slowly expand. Thinking in English trains your mind to form connections between words and real-life situations, making your responses faster and more natural. Step 4. Learn words in context. Learning vocabulary in isolation is less effective than learning words in sentences or real-life situations. Instead of memorizing lists like apple, run, happy, try to learn phrases such as, "I eat an apple every morning," or "She runs to school every day." Context helps your brain remember words and understand how they are used, which makes it easier to recall and apply them in conversations. Step 5. Practice small conversations daily. Regular, short conversations are more effective than occasional long study sessions. You can practice with a friend, an online language partner, or even by talking to yourself. The key is consistency. By speaking a little every day, your brain gets continuous practice, which strengthens connections and develops automatic English thinking. By following these 5 steps, surrounding yourself with English, speaking without fear, thinking in English, learning words in context, and practicing daily conversations, you are actively training your brain to process English naturally. Over time, these habits will make your thinking faster, your speaking smoother, and your understanding of the language more intuitive. Building an English brain is not instantaneous, but consistent practice using these steps will bring noticeable improvement and confidence in your English skills. After discussing the steps to build an English brain, the next important part is practical exercises. These exercises are designed to help you apply what you've learned and start thinking, speaking, and understanding English naturally. The key is to practice consistently, even if it's just for a few minutes every day. Small, daily habits are far more effective than occasional long study sessions. Exercise 1. Thinking practice. This is a simple yet powerful exercise. Wherever you are, take a few moments to look around and describe what you see in English. For example, you might say, "I see a black chair." "There is a window." "The sun is shining through." You don't need to use complicated sentences, short, clear statements work perfectly. The goal is to train your brain to associate words with objects, actions, and surroundings directly in English, bypassing your native language. Over time, this will help you think in English automatically. Exercise 2. Listening and repeating. Choose a short audio clip, such as a podcast, TV show segment, or song, and listen carefully. Pause and repeat what you hear, mimicking the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Even if you can only repeat 1 or 2 sentences at first, this exercise trains your brain to recognize English sounds and patterns. Repetition also improves your speaking confidence and pronunciation, making your English sound more natural over time. Exercise 3. Speaking to yourself. Speaking aloud, even when you are alone, is an excellent way to practice without fear of making mistakes. For instance, when you wake up in the morning, try saying, "Good morning. Today I feel happy. I am going to have breakfast." You can describe your plans, your surroundings, or your feelings throughout the day. Speaking to yourself reinforces the habit of using English directly and helps your brain form automatic connections between words and meaning. Exercise 4, Daily English Diary. Writing in English each day strengthens both your thinking and memory. Each evening, write 2 or 3 sentences about your day. For example, I went to work. I met a friend. We had coffee together. By using English in context, your brain starts to internalize sentence structures, vocabulary, and grammar naturally. Over time, this simple habit will improve both your writing and your overall fluency. Remember, the purpose of these exercises is not perfection, but progress. Start small and gradually increase the time and complexity as your confidence grows. You don't need to do all exercises at once, choose 1 or 2 and make them part of your daily routine. Consistency is the secret to success. By regularly practicing these exercises, you are actively training your brain to process English naturally. Listening, thinking, speaking, and writing in English every day will help your mind build strong connections, making communication faster, smoother, and more automatic. In short, these exercises are the foundation of a strong English brain, and with patience and dedication, you will see noticeable improvements in your fluency, confidence, and overall language skills. While building an English brain is an exciting and rewarding journey, many learners make common mistakes that slow down their progress. Recognizing these pitfalls can help you avoid them and develop your English more efficiently. Mistake 1: Overthinking grammar. One of the most common issues is that learners focus too much on using perfect grammar. They spend a lot of time analyzing sentence structures or trying to form flawless sentences before speaking. While grammar is important, overthinking it can actually hinder fluency. If you wait until your sentences are perfect, you may never speak at all. Building an English brain is about developing the ability to communicate naturally, not about perfection. Mistakes are normal and provide valuable learning opportunities. The more you speak, even with minor errors, the faster your brain adapts to using English naturally. Mistake 2: Fear of making mistakes. Many learners hesitate to speak because they are afraid of sounding wrong or embarrassing themselves. This fear can lead to long periods of silence and missed opportunities to practice. Speaking is one of the most effective ways to train your brain, so avoiding it slows your progress. Remember, every mistake is proof that you are trying and learning. By embracing mistakes as part of the learning process, you give your brain the chance to form stronger connections and improve your fluency over time. Mistake 3: Translating word by word. In the beginning, it's natural to translate from your native language, but depending too much on translation prevents your brain from thinking directly in English. When you translate every word, your brain processes language slowly, and conversations become stressful. Over time, your brain can develop a habit of responding in English automatically, but this requires conscious effort to stop translating and start thinking in English. Mistake 4: Inconsistent practice. Another common problem is irregular study habits. Many learners study intensively for a few hours once a week but do nothing in between. Language learning works best through daily exposure and small, consistent practice sessions. Short, frequent exercises are far more effective in building an English brain than occasional long sessions because they allow your brain to form steady connections. Mistake 5: Comparing yourself to others. Some learners feel discouraged when they compare their progress to friends or classmates. Everyone learns at a different pace, and progress is not linear. Comparing yourself to others can reduce motivation and create unnecessary pressure. Focus on your own journey, celebrate small wins, and appreciate your gradual improvements. In summary, the key mistakes to avoid when building an English brain are overthinking grammar, fearing mistakes, translating too much, practicing inconsistently, and comparing yourself to others. By recognizing and addressing these common pitfalls, you can maintain a positive learning mindset and accelerate your progress. Remember, fluency comes from practice, patience, and consistent effort, not perfection. Avoid these traps, and your brain will adapt to English more naturally, helping you communicate with confidence and ease. Building an English brain is not just about learning words, grammar, or pronunciation, it's also about developing the right mindset and motivation. Without a positive attitude and consistent dedication, even the best strategies may not lead to long-term success. Understanding how to approach learning, managing expectations, and staying motivated are key components of building fluency. The first principle is patience. Developing an English brain takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight. Many learners become frustrated when they don't see immediate results, but it's important to remember that language learning is a gradual process. Even small improvements, like understanding a sentence without translating, speaking a full sentence aloud, or recalling a word more quickly, are signs of progress. Patience allows you to stay committed and avoid giving up when challenges arise. Consistency is the second essential element. Daily practice, even if it's only 10 to 15 minutes, is far more effective than occasional long study sessions. Short, consistent exercises train your brain to process English naturally and help build habits that last. Listening to English, thinking in English, speaking to yourself, or writing a few sentences in a diary every day strengthens your neural connections and reinforces the English mindset. Over time, these small actions accumulate, and your brain begins to respond automatically in English. Another critical aspect is celebrating small victories. Recognizing progress, no matter how minor it seems, helps maintain motivation. Did you understand a podcast sentence without subtitles? Did you respond in English without translating? Did you use a new phrase correctly? Each small win is a step forward and a reminder that your efforts are paying off. Celebrating these moments encourages your brain to continue learning and builds confidence in your abilities. It's also important to avoid comparing yourself to others. Everyone learns at a different pace, and progress is unique to each person. Focusing on your own journey rather than measuring yourself against someone else helps reduce stress, maintain motivation, and cultivate a positive attitude toward learning. Remember that your English brain develops gradually, and consistent personal effort matters more than speed. Finally, believe in your own potential. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections at any age, means that building an English brain is possible for both children and adults. Confidence in your ability to learn, combined with consistent practice and a positive mindset, creates the foundation for long-term success. Embrace mistakes as opportunities to learn, stay patient, and enjoy the process of growth. In summary, the mindset and motivation required to build an English brain include patience, consistency, celebrating small wins, avoiding comparisons, and believing in yourself. By adopting these principles, you create an environment where your brain can thrive in English, making fluency not just a goal, but a natural outcome of your daily efforts. As we come to the end of today's episode, it's important to take a moment to reflect on what we've learned about building an English brain and to summarize the key points that can guide your practice. Developing an English brain is not just about memorizing vocabulary or mastering grammar rules, it's about training your mind to process English naturally, so that understanding, thinking, and speaking in the language become effortless. First, remember what an English brain truly is. It's the ability to think, understand, and communicate in English without translating from your native language. When your brain works this way, your responses become faster, your listening comprehension improves, and your overall confidence in using English grows. Achieving this level of fluency is possible for learners of all ages, as long as you practice consistently and strategically. Second, focus on the 5 key steps we discussed for building your English brain. Surround yourself with English every day through podcasts, videos, and other media. Speak without fear, understanding that mistakes are a natural and valuable part of learning. Train yourself to think directly in English, describing your surroundings, thoughts, and actions in the language. Learn words in context rather than in isolation, so your brain connects vocabulary to real-life situations. And finally, practice small conversations daily, whether with a friend, a language partner online, or even by talking to yourself. These steps are the foundation for creating automatic English thinking. Third, use practical exercises every day. Take a few minutes to think in English, repeat sentences from audio clips, speak to yourself about your day, or write a short English diary entry. Even short, consistent practices help your brain internalize English, making it easier to use naturally over time. Remember, progress is built through consistent effort, not through perfection or long, infrequent study sessions. Fourth, maintain a positive mindset and motivation. Be patient with yourself, celebrate small victories, and focus on your own journey instead of comparing yourself to others. Recognize that every mistake is an opportunity to learn, and trust in your brain's ability to adapt and grow through practice. Consistency, patience, and belief in your own potential are just as important as the techniques you use. In summary, building an English brain requires a combination of strategy, practice, and mindset. By integrating English into your daily life, thinking and speaking directly in English, and maintaining a positive, patient attitude, you can gradually develop fluency that feels natural and effortless. Start with small steps, make English a daily habit, and enjoy the journey. Over time, your brain will adapt, your skills will grow, and communicating in English will become an automatic and enjoyable part of your life. Thank you for joining today's episode. Remember, every small step counts, and consistent practice will lead to big improvements. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and continue building your English brain one day at a time.